there needs to be a compromise, but we must simply take note of the fact that on the Greek side, there is no will to reach a compromise. If there is no willingness to make a compromise, I'm utterly convinced that the euro will fail, and we don't want that at any cost.
All right, folks, joining us now to help sort all this out and put it in terms that we could all understand, Peter Morici, syndicated columnist, economist at University of Maryland, and former chief economist at USTC. Hello, sir.
Good morning.
Did I say USTC? USITC?
It's the United States International.
Yeah, I left that at night. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, Peter, so they're defaulting. I mean, so what does that mean, and where do we go?
Well, it's unprecedented for a major industrialized country, which Greece is, believe it or not. I mean, if you look at Greece before the financial crisis, very high income level, very competitive shipping and petroleum sectors, tourism business, not a lot, but a small country, now defaulting. Why? It got in over its head. It borrowed too much money because it was in the Eurozone. Now, Angela Merkel is saying, if it fails, the euro will fail. The euro is going to fail not because of Greece, but because the euro doesn't make sense for Italy, Spain, Portugal, Greece, Ireland, and others. It's just that Greece is the first domino to fall.
All right. Well, that doesn't bode well for the future. Are we going to? Before I ask you what I was going to ask you, let me pick up on that. If that's the case, what's the future of the euro? And maybe more importantly, or just as important, a question as it regards our 401ks and our markets here. If that scenario does unfold over the months and years, are we going to go through this in our markets every time another one bites the dust?
No, I think we'll get used to the fact that they peel off and recognize that Greece does not have a large consequence on our markets. We don't hold a lot of their debt. Those that do tend to be hedge funds like Paulson's hedge fund and so forth. They made a bet that somehow this could work out. They lost their bet, so too bad. But this isn't going to be, J.P. Morgan being threatened or Lehman Brothers failing or something. What's more, Europe had a perfectly sound economic community before the euro. The euro is a symbol more than a useful tool, and they need to get away from symbols and get back into doing what they need to do, and that is to continue to reform and strengthen their economies. A currency doesn't do that for them.
Yeah. All right. Now, your piece that you wrote at Newsmax talked about the sooner Greece defaults, which they did, and dumps the euro, which I assume they're doing, the better. So how do they reorganize?
Well, they haven't completely defaulted yet. They're in arrears on an IMF loan. Let's be clear. The IMF, Christine Lagarde, is making this out to be much larger than it is. What really matters is the other, 130 billion euro that they owe, not the 1.5 they owe to the IMF. That'll get paid eventually somehow. What it means is that if they do pull out of the euro and they go on the drachma, they'll remark their debt, and that will essentially devalue it. It'll give the creditors a haircut, just like when anybody else gives their creditors a haircut because they can't pay. My feeling is that the economy will work itself through it. The Greeks will go through some bad days, but eventually they'll emerge stronger. If they go along with more austerity, let's think of what that means. For the last 5 years, they've had austerity, and their economy shrunk by 25%. Is there any reason to believe that more of this is going to do them any good? Christine Lagarde and Angela Merkel are the slowest learners I've had since I taught at a second-rate four-year college in the Midwest in 1974, and I was forced to take some community college transfers from a church school.
All right, let me change topics real quick here in the minute and a half we have left. Obama's and the Labor Department's new overtime rules. How many fewer opportunities for workers will that present?
Well, it's going to create more opportunities than less. Let me explain. Right now with the Health Care Act, you either have lots of workers that only work 29 hours a week so that you don't have to give them health insurance, or if you have full-time employees, you try to get a lot of overtime so you don't have to hire too many workers. If you're going to have to pay overtime on people who earn, twice the average hourly wage in the United States, the trick is to become someplace like Williams-Sonoma. Williams-Sonoma has lots of part-time workers, or Starbucks. So I think we're going to have more jobs that are only 29 hours a week. These people that are not getting overtime now, they still won't, because what they'll do is they'll have to have two jobs. Basically, what Barack Obama is doing is what he loves to do best, and that's buy votes with other people's money.
Yeah, and it's a shame that the Congress isn't in charge of this, that he does everything unilaterally, and who knows, maybe someone will take him to court and the Labor Board to court and say you can't do
so
this.
they take him to court. Big deal.
I know. What can I? But look,
And then
look.
somebody will read Anthony Kennedy's rule of legal construction. Whatever the president wants, give it to him.
Peter, at least the EPA got reined in a little bit. We'll see how that actually works out. Great to talk to you, my friend. Peter Morici, have a very happy and safe 4th of July holiday. All right, folks, lots more ahead. When we come back, we have a lot to discuss with the president of Bond, and that, of course, is the one and the only Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson. He is next, right here on Newsmax TV on the Steve Malzberg Show. Don't go away.